Weeping Angels from Doctor Who, Coil Heads from Lethal Company, SCP-173, and many other horror characters share the same mechanic. As long as you look at them, they remain still. But the moment you look away,
they attack.
So when facing any of them, what keeps you alive is your sense of sight. But what if it were the exact opposite? What if you are fine, as long as you haven't seen the monster? That's when these guys come into play. Monsters that the moment you lay your eyes on them, even for a split second, you are basically dead. Most of you are probably familiar with these two, but the worst one of them is this one. But we'll get to that one later. What makes the concept of a monster that you shouldn't look at work is that looking at the danger is much easier than not looking at it. By nature, we want to see the danger, but these monsters turn the act of seeing them into the danger itself. This concept goes against our survival instincts. When facing them, we are forced to do exactly what we shouldn't: close our eyes. Each of these three works in a unique way, so let's analyze and compare them. To understand why I believe the monster from Marabito is so much worse, we need to analyze the other two first. The way the monster in Bird Box works is the most complicated of the three. The synopsis is this: there is a creature that if you see it, whether in person or on video, you will lose your mind. But I believe it does not necessarily make you want to harm yourself, at least not most of the time. Let me explain why. Seeing the creature in Bird Box affects people differently. Some cause no harm to themselves, but instead force others to also look at it. Some see hallucinations that drive them to death, so it is not a 100% deadly encounter. Different people see different things specific to them. If character A saw what character B saw when looking at the monster, he probably wouldn't react the same way. But one thing is certain: witnessing what others do when they see the monster is way scarier than seeing it for yourself. Even some of the people who see it describe it as beautiful. We see that after seeing the monster, one person starts driving her car differently. But this doesn't look like she's trying to hurt herself. She could run her car into many things, but she doesn't. What it looks like is that she's trying to dodge imaginary things. The same way she is seeing things that aren't there, she is also not seeing things that are there. One person sees her long dead mother in a burning car and gets in it without realizing the fire. So maybe in their eyes, they are not harming themselves. Seeing the monsters in Bird Box is more of a relief from the surrounding madness. But at the end of the day, it's just a theory. Now let's put it to paper. This is the monster, and this is you looking at it. What happens after that is you basically lose your mind, and as a result, either lose your life or pretty much start worshipping it, and try to make others look at it as well. The movie never showing the monster was a genius move, because it forces our imaginations to fill the blanks. So what each of us imagines it looks like is different, and that's exactly what is happening to the characters in the movie who see it. The same way each of them sees something unique, each of us also imagines something unique. It might not even be intentional, but it's still really smart. The fact that the monster itself never directly attacks anyone throughout the whole movie is also terrifying. All it does is exist, and still it's the deadliest creature. SCP-096, however, is not like that. We know exactly what it looks like and how it works, but, in my opinion, it's still
scarier.
In the beginning of the video, I mentioned SCP-173. I said that it works by staying completely still until you blink or look away. That's when it moves toward you to break your neck. SCP-096 is the exact opposite. This is 096. It's crying in a completely sealed room with no way to exit. Yet, if you look at its face to face, on a security camera, or even in a photograph, while you are on the other side of the world from it, you are dead. It doesn't matter if it's just a small dot in the background. As long as its face is captured, it triggers it. But it does not teleport. No. It runs full speed toward you, still crying, and nothing can stop it, not bullets or bombs. And God bless people who see it running past them, because it is coming after them next. He isn't sealed in that room to prevent him from leaving. He is sealed there to prevent you from entering. 096 is also known as Shy Guy, because it does not want people seeing its face, and cannot bear knowing someone knows how it looks. Once it enters attack mode, Nothing can stand between it and its victim, not even the ocean, the slim, long body, the scream of agony as it runs after you. But the best thing about it is the horrifying use of contradictions in its design. Its amazing power, despite its fragile-looking body, its human-sounding cry, despite its alien appearance, its scared and sad posture, despite its vicious attacks. This is terrifying. You can't convince me that seeing SCP-096's face isn't more terrifying than seeing the Bird Box monster, just knowing that it's coming after you, and that neither you nor anyone else can do anything about it, and you just have to accept that this crying monster will demolish you soon is so much worse. Now, to put it on paper. This is 096, and this is you seeing its face. How it kills you is that it directly attacks you, unlike the Bird Box monster. You can enter the room by itself and you can walk past it, and nothing will happen as long as you don't look at it. Unlike the Bird Box monster, 096 is simple. One amazing thing about it is that 096 feels like it has a backstory, like this creature has experienced some really tough times that have led him to this. But how can the Maribito monster be even scarier than that? In Maribito, we follow a man fascinated by the feeling of fear. He wants to experience the highest form of fear a living creature can experience. He doesn't fear death because what he craves is scarier. So he goes around Tokyo with a camera looking for that fear, and he has found it. This is Mr. Kuroki. In Tokyo's underground world, he saw something so frightening that he, with his own hands, blinded himself, so there would be no chance of him ever seeing it again. Something so scary that moving to a different country wouldn't be enough. The Maribito monster, like the monster in Bird Box, doesn't attack anyone, but unlike in Bird Box, it doesn't play with their minds. It is simply so ungodly frightening that people who see it cannot continue living. This is the Lovecraftian version of the you see it, you die monsters. Something incomprehensible to the human mind. H.P. Lovecraft often wrote horror that could only exist as words on paper, because depicting it visually would be impossible. Try imagining a color you have never seen. I don't mean a specific shade of a known color. I mean a color with no name, nothing even close to something you have seen before. A color out of a space. You cannot imagine something like that. This is Lovecraftian horror, an unimaginable color. A monster so massive you can't see the end of it, and the creature so incredibly scary you can't bear to live in the same world as it. To compare them, this is the Maribito monster, and this is you seeing it. What happens next is your inability to comprehend the infinite fear it exudes. You gouge your eyes out, pass out, and die. I think that's the scarier. The Bird Box monster forces you to die. The SCP-096 attacks you to death. But the Maribito monster doesn't need to do anything. Witnessing it results in you willingly destroying yourself. The Maribito monster is more than a monster. It is a concept. The concept of something unbearably and unimaginably scary. This goes beyond being against our nature. The monster of Maribito is fear itself. It's the embodiment of the highest form of fear depicted in the movie. And of course, it's not shown to us, because no one can imagine something like that. It's like thinking about infinity. All three instances of the don't look at it monsters we discussed, while working in different ways, are all genius. All of these monsters fall into the same category, monsters that work with the senses. But eyes are not the only way. The monsters from A Quiet Place use the sense of hearing. They are aliens that listen carefully and attack anything that makes noise. But imagine how terrifying a monster could be if you died upon hearing its voice. Well, not exactly, but something like that has also been done. I'm a huge nerd for doing this, but I'm going to mention Junji Ito again. I have made 4 videos so far and talked about him 3 times. But that's not just because I love the man. It's because he is a genius when it comes to The Devil's Logic, or Devil's Theory, by Junji Ito, is the most terrifying sense-based horror, and there is no actual monster in it. It's about information that, if received, changes your whole view of life lethally. Junji Ito instilled a new fear in me with this story in only 10 pages. I think this story is the peak of sense-based horror, because it puts the fear in you even without ever facing it. How terrifying is it to know that there is a piece of information that, if received, would have such an effect on your life? Turning ignorance into horror is the ultimate form of horror. Making this video made me think, what other types of sense-based horror can be made? We kinda have touch-based horror, with movies about diseases. We even in a way have horror based on the sixth sense, but I believe there is still so much horror left to be made. So many ideas. There is so much room for creativity. What about a monster that only moves toward you when you also move your body? Or the opposite, a monster that doesn't kill you as long as you are walking. But anyway, this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this relatively shorter video. Okay, it's finished.